I'm about to try making a dress for the first time ever. My brother is getting married in 12 days and I decided that while I have a charity shop dress that I'm excited to wear, you can see it in this haul here, I'm going to make dresses for my 3 and 6-year-old. Welcome back to the Whole Home. I'm Kezia and I'm in my parents' utility room. Everyone is in town for this wedding and so it's a little hectic and I'm camping out in here as my sewing zone. My goal on the internet is to make lower footprint sustainable living feel a bit less complicated and a bit more budget friendly. And while this is a budget friendly project, it really didn't cost much. I will cost it out. It is maybe not unoverwhelming, but I think it's an important thing. And so I'm going to take you along and try it. And maybe watching me try it will make it less overwhelming. We will see. I do know how to sew a straight line and a square. I can sew with something really simple. I do know how to use a sewing machine. I learned somewhere in my teens, but I've never followed a pattern and I've never made a piece of clothing. Why am I trying 12 days before a wedding to make dresses? The 12 days part is procrastination, but the making my own dresses is because at the beginning of 2023, we decided to quit buying new clothes for our family. We've been doing it for 18 months now because of the environmental and human impact of the clothing industry. It is so detrimental. We won't get into that now, but I think we really have to change our mindset to start using what is already in circulation. The British Fashion Council says we have enough clothes on the planet to last the next 6 generations, which is kind of insane to me. And I want to learn how to use that and change our mindset and figure it out. So I bought something that's already in circulation, pillowcases and duvet covers. I got them for £25 off Vinted and I'm going to try and turn them into 2 dresses for my 3 and 6-year-old. Now, I could have gone secondhand, but I kind of wanted something sentimental and matching. I think maybe it's the last time they'll wear something matching, so that's what I wanted to do. I would have put that aside if I couldn't have made something myself, because the most important thing to me is not buying new. But I kind of wanted the challenge. I think we need to learn to sew more. If we want to take that clothing that's already in circulation and actually use it practically to turn it into what we want to wear. So I'm going to try 12 days. 2 dresses. Let's see how it goes. Step number 1 was choosing a pattern. I got one, honestly, I just put in an Etsy search and found one for about £7. You cut it out, stick it together, and then cut out the different pieces. The pattern seems really good. I did have to figure out some terms because I'm not a sewer. Cut on the fold. I figured you fold the fabric and cut on the fold. So that's what I've done there. I think I've cut everything I need. I'm going to find the straps, which are the first thing in the design, and we're going to have a go. As soon as I had got the sewing machine out and switched it on, a toddler came to sit on my lap. It is for her, this dress, so I'm trying to include her as much as I can where it's simple pieces. We've just been doing straight lines to create these shoulder straps and then the back piece. So right now we are threading through a piece of elastic to make the stretchy bit, and that felt like something a toddler could do, so we are off to a good start. That's it, pull it up. Pull the front, that's right. Can you spot the paper clip? Can you pull this paper clip through?
Yeah.
Can you pull it through? That's it, pull it through. Okay, gin and tonic. I'm about an hour into sewing. I've got my back strap bit done. Look at this. We sewed something. Look at that. And now we're going to iron these pieces that will become the ties on the back. So I ignored all the bits that said the different things I was supposed to buy. I didn't get the rolly cutter fabric thing that you see on Instagram Reels if you watch people sew. I didn't get a fabric marker, but we're making it work so far. I just had some really sharp nail scissors. We're making do. They cut the fabric just fine. I've used a washable felt tip that will just wash out instead of a fabric marker. I'm also on the phone to .gov.uk because that takes a long time, so you've got to multitask it. Okay. And we've got 4 nice pieces sewed, ready to go. We can move on to the next step. I didn't really check what sewing machine skills I would need before starting this project, but so far we are doing okay. I can really just do a forward stitch and then move the fabric around to keep it, you know, 1/4 of an inch from the edge, which is what it says we need to do, and then just a little back and forth to secure the cotton. So we're doing okay skills-wise so far, and then we're going to turn this inside out to create the back strap. Okay, let's turn it inside out. We're about to iron, but here's where we're at. We've got a back piece and 2 ties. So this is just a tie back dress, which people who sew advised me not to do anything with buttons. But a tie is a little bit forgiving, so that's the style of the dress. So these will go over there. This is the back. These will tie together in a bow. And then this will be stretchy bit underneath. So now I'm gonna iron them flat and then go back and sew the next bit. Okay, I stopped sewing because I had to watch that game, but here's where we're at. We've got the main bodice. It will get puffy sleeves. And then the back. Look, I kind of can't believe it's happening. It's gonna be a dress. It is a beautiful day, day 2 of trying to make a dress. I've got my coffee, but I have not showered. I have kind of rolled out of bed, but I'm stealing minutes wherever I can to make this because life with kids. Okay, here's where we got to yesterday. So we have a bodice. Look at that. This elasticy part is still definitely my favorite piece because it really looks like a dress. I have just followed the instructions very much step by step. I'm wondering if, so it's got these ties at the back. I'm wondering if these ties are going to be long enough, but it's all coming together. Next stop is making sleeves. So we have these 2 pieces, or the sleeve pieces. They said to cut on the fold, so I've folded it and cut, and then they've had me draw a line on the inside. So we're going to take those, and I'm going to drink my coffee and sew while the kids eat breakfast. Okay, everyone's eating breakfast around me. I have my coffee, and at this point I had to really trust the process because I could not tell how this shape was going to become a sleeve or why we had drawn that line or what the elastic was going to do. So I was watching the instructions so carefully, but you can see as I stitch, the elastic is creating a stretchy, ruched, I don't know if that's the word, piece of sleeve. Still don't know how this then becomes a sleeve, but we are going absolutely step by step. And the next thing it told me to do is to do a running stitch. So when we've put 2 lines of running stitch the whole way around the sleeve, look at this. We can find the ends of the cotton, pull the cotton strands, and the whole thing comes together as a sleeve. I'm laying everything out as we go so it looks exactly like the picture because you've got lining and main fabric and inside and outside and right side and wrong side. So we're following it super carefully, but look how it is going. Back in the utility room, we've made a bodice. We've got the sleeves on, and now I'm moving on to the skirt. These skirt pieces are massive. This is the bottom skirt piece for the 4-year-old dress. It's almost as tall as me, but somehow with all the ruching it will come together. So we've got this piece, and then it goes down to this size, so way smaller. It's hard to see how this will come together in the skirt, but I'm going to iron it at the bottom to make a hem. It also doesn't feel it's going to be long enough. Having put the bodice piece on her and then thinking about that not being much skirt for a 4-year-old, but we will see how it comes together. I'm going to iron the bottom of this. Right, we've ruched this skirt and pinned it to the tier above. This is definitely the most challenging part for me because you've got to get it even all the way around and pin it to here. But I think we're ready to sew it. We've got some ruching. Is that what it's called? This was definitely the hardest part for me. So you've got to kind of gather one side, stitch it to one side that's not gathered. The other side is gathered, but now we get to turn it around. And see the 2 tiers of the skirt, which I still think are maybe too short, but it's huge because it's going to get gathered again like that. And then it'll be a little skirt. Look at that. And then we get to attach it to the bodice and then we're done. Cannot believe it. I'm shocked that remember that fabric that was as tall as me? That's it now. And then it's all going to come together. Moment of truth. We get to turn it inside out. I have just done that final seam, sewing the skirt portion onto the bodice portion. Those were the hardest seams for me, without a doubt, because you're sewing the ruffle part onto the straight. It was challenging, but now we get to turn it inside out. This has taken me about 24 hours. I get way too into the projects I want to do. Admittedly, there are a lot of people in this house for the wedding, and I've just kind of parented from the sewing machine because there's a lot of people here and it's worked. But it was probably about 8 to 10 hours of sewing. Okay. Get it all turned inside out. Look, I can't believe it happened. I cannot believe it happened. Here we go. Here's our dress. Look at that. There's a few little things we've got to trim. And then there's the back. This is my favorite part. The elastic just made me feel like I knew what I was doing, even though I didn't have a clue. We did it. I had so much more fun than I thought I would making this, but what did it cost? My goal was to save money from buying a super sustainable, ethical, dead stock fabric or something which would have cost a lot per child. But the duvet cover that I got was £25. I could have paid 4 or 5 times the amount, even for a secondhand duvet cover. So that was really good and definitely cheaper than buying cotton by the yard. So that was a win. I have used less than half of it. I've cut the pieces for a second dress as well, and I've got a size kid 4 and 7, and I've only used half. So I'll get another 2 dresses out of the fabric that I can gift to other people, and that was a £25 duvet cover. Then the pattern was about £7, but I can use that again and again because you print your own pattern and cut it out for the age 1 to 14. And then thread was probably about £5 of thread to put in the sewing machine. So all in all, about 18 or 19 pounds per dress. Could have bought a fast fashion dress for less than that, but that was the whole point here, was that's so detrimental. I don't want to do that. How do we get wedding clothes and sentimental items without doing that? It's about 18 or 19 pounds per dress. However, that cost will go down the more I use the duvet cover. Then the next 2 dresses will be free, you know, so if we actually, yeah, you can calculate it how you want. But my outgoings to create these 2 dresses were about £37. A lot of people on Instagram asked me where I learned to sew. I really knew very little about sewing in terms of how to use a sewing machine. Everything I know, I think I really figured out by myself by just playing around with the sewing machine. How to thread the needle, how to do forward stitch, which is putting your foot down, how to finish it going back and forward, it's just another little button, and how to thread the bobbin. That's really all I knew. So nothing fancy, just quite simple sewing machine use. There's a ton more a sewing machine can do. And that stuff I figured out by myself when I was a teenager. So that was all I really brought to this. And then it really was the logic of following a pattern. So I followed it absolutely step by step. Nothing was really intuitive. I just did exactly what it told me to do. And especially on those arm pieces, sleeves, I had no idea how the shape of the fabric was going to turn into a sleeve. I just had to follow it absolutely step by step. I would say if you've sewed anything before or have any level of sewing machine ability or a little bit of time to learn, you could 100% do the dress, because I didn't bring skill to it. But I did bring determination and a brain that will follow instructions and, you know, do that. But look at that. We did it. I'm going to go make another dress, which I've cut the pieces for. I'm gonna go make another one. If you wanna stick around, I will put up here the video it's a charity shop haul. It is also the story of how we quit buying new clothes as a family and why we did it and what it's been like for us. And here, it's a really interesting one about how France is limiting the effects of fast fashion through legislation. I found it really interesting, and to look at what it's gonna do for the ultra fast fashion brands like Shein and Temu. So that's an interesting watch as well on this topic. And I will link everything you need for this below.